Hello crafty friends, this is G.D. Moss, the Bluegrass Stamper. Welcome to my studio here in the Bluegrass state of Kentucky. Today we're going to be making a waterfall card. This is an old fold. I've done this for many years, but I haven't done it for a while. So I thought it was time to bring it back out of the closet and do it with a new stamp set. This is the Playful Ghosts stamp set. So it looks like it's pretty hard to do, but in reality, it is not hard. So let's get started. I'm using, as I said, the Playful Ghost stamp set. This is in the online exclusive section of the website. So if you haven't seen it in any catalogs, that's how the online exclusives work. So just go online and there's a section for these and you can see all the things that you won't find in the catalog. So I thought, seeing the three little ghosts, I thought this was perfect for this card. So we'll be using that. We will be using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. We'll be using the Tag Topper Punch. I'm not sure what the name of this one is, but I will be sure to put it in the video. We're using the So Swirly embossing folder. This is a big embossing folder, much larger than the other ones that we have. It is also not a 3D embossing folder. So the sandwich to go through the machine is a little different. You'll use the base plate, the platform, the thick one, and you'll use two of the clear cutting plates. You'll put this between the two clear plates. We'll be using that. And I'm using this great sparkly glimmer paper. This one is Berry Burst, Old Olive, and White. And we'll be using some of the Old Olive. You'll need some other supplies. I have a card base. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Our card will not open. So our message is actually on here. You could put a panel on the back of this for your message. You could also put this on the front of a full card, but we're just using a quarter sheet. Again, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We've got a piece of pumpkin pie that is 4 by 5 1/4. We have 4 squares of basic black. These are 2-inch squares. We have 4 white squares, basic white squares. These are 1 3/4 squares. We have a strip. This is 4 by, I believe that's 3/4 of an inch. Yes, 3/4 by 4. And then we've got a 1/2 inch by 4 of the glimmer paper. And we have a strip. This is 2 by, I believe, 9 1/4. Yes, 2 by 9 1/4. And I did cut it just slightly less than 2 inches so that it would fit easily into that punch that we're going to use. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to take, our black, basic black panel, and we're going to take our orange one. So the orange one, the pumpkin pie, we're going to put it into our So Swirly embossing folder, and we're going to run it through the embossing machine. So I've already done that. So I have this piece, and I thought that went well with our ghosts. We are going to attach this to our base card. I'm just using the multi-purpose glue, which I find is easy to work with and gives me a little wiggle room so I can adjust things. So there's our card base. We're also going to attach these two pieces together. So I'm just gonna run, well, that's really slick, isn't it? I'm gonna run some glue down the center of this piece, and I'm just going to attach this. And again, I'm using glue because it gives me a chance to move things around a little bit if I need to. Now we're going to move to the white strip, and we're going to score this. We're going to use 4 score lines. We're going to score at 2 inches, and then every 3/4 of an inch. So the next one will be 2 3/4, 3 1/2, and 4 1/4. So 4 score lines. We'll want to use our tag topper punch on this. And we're going to punch the end that has the long unscored panel. So we'll just be putting that in, and this is why I cut that just slightly less than 2 inches so it'd be easy to go in. I'm going to flip this over so that I can see it's all the way in, and I'm going to punch this over my trash can so I don't have all those little pieces. Now we're going to fold this, and we're going to fold everything in the same direction. So this is our piece. The next thing we'll do, we're going to use these 4 white squares. And I'm going to bring in some scrap paper. The scrap paper that everybody finds funny because it is this old dot matrix printer paper with the holes. Those of you of a certain age may remember this paper. So we're going to stamp our little ghosties. We're using the Memento black ink. We're going to start with the little ghosty that's popping out of the pumpkin, the jack-o'-lantern. And we won't be able to get the entire thing on this little square, but we're going to get most of him on there. And then we've got our little witch ghost. We're going to stamp it. Our Dracula. And the last one, we are going to use the Boo and the little bats. So we're going to stamp our Boo. And then we're going to add a couple of these little bats. And there we have our little squares. Now I colored mine with the blends. I used an assortment. I used the Daffodil Delight. I used it on the little parts of the eyes of the jack-o'-lantern, the little top of the, I'm not sure if you can get down here where I can see that. I also used it on the little buckle on the hat. Now I'm doing this really quickly, and the little patch on the hat. I also used that on the broom stick, so there's. I used the light smoky slate, and the only place I used this was in the ones that had the little open mouths. I put a little bit of that just in the mouth so that it looked like a little more of a shadow. I used the Blackberry Bliss for the witch, and I'm going to bring these out because I've already colored them just so that you wouldn't have to watch me do that. So for this one, this is the little Dracula. I used the basic black, the dark basic black for the top of his head. And here's what he looks like uncolored. And I used a little bit of the green. That's the dark lemon lime twist. I used that for his cape and for his ear. For this one, I used the Daffodil Delight, and I used the pumpkin pie and a little bit of that lemon lime twist up for the stem. For this one, I used the Berry Burst. No, Blackberry Bliss, sorry. Dark Blackberry Bliss. And I did the cape and I did some of the stripes on the hat. I used the light black to color the brim of the hat and the band of the hat. And I used the light black because I don't know if you can tell, but you can actually see the lines through that of the stamped image. Whereas when you use the dark black, you don't see those lines. I used the light basic black for that. The pecan pie for the broomstick. And of course the pumpkin pie for the pumpkins. So I have these all ready to go. The next step will be to stamp on our mechanism. So like I showed you before, we have our greeting down here at the bottom, so we want to stamp that. And I have not done that on this one. So we'll stamp some pumpkins. We want to keep these up high enough that it's hidden whenever we have our card closed. And then I'm going to stamp the Happy Halloween. And I'm doing it at an angle just because I know I won't get it straight. And so if I just do it in an angle to begin with, there's no pressure there. So this one I will go ahead and color because I need to do it for the card. And I'm just adding, I'll do it quickly, the pumpkin pie. And I'll use that dark lemon lime twist for my stem and leaves. So we've got that. And now we have all of our pieces. So we're going to take this piece and this piece. And we're going to fold this on that top score line. And what we want to end up with is this. So what we'll do is we'll turn this over to the back and we'll open this up. So our stamping is on the front, but we're going to secure this with glue or whatever type of adhesive you want to use to the center of this strip. Make sure you could, yes, I think you can see this. So I am adding my glue right across there, and then this is going to go up and attach to this. I don't want to see it from the front, so I'm leaving just a tiny bit. You just slide that over just a little bit. Didn't get it too awfully straight. Put it over just a tad. All right, so it's pretty much centered here. And now this is really important because, so what we'll have this when we're done. So this is exactly right. We're gonna flip that back over. we're going to put adhesive, and this is really important. You only want to put adhesive on these two ends of the black strip. If you put adhesive anywhere else, this card is not going to work as it should. So just adhesive on those two. We're going to fold it on that top score line, and then we are going to center this on our card. So get a little bit of space at the top, a little bit of space at the bottom, and we're going to attach that to our card front. So the only place it is glued is right behind my thumbs. So just on that black, because this can't be glued because it needs to slide. So there we go. We're almost finished with this card already. So we've got our 4 black squares. The first one is different than the other 3. So the first one, we are going to, you can put adhesive either on here or on here. I'm going to just put it on, we're going to put it all over this piece, but this is the only piece that's going to get adhesive all over it. So we're putting adhesive all over that, and we're lining it up just under this bottom score line. So it is attached over our glimmer paper, and it is attached to that white strip up to that score line. Our next one, we're only going to put adhesive between these 2 score lines. So only adhesive between the score lines. And then we're going to line this one up just under that second score line and kind of try to keep it straight with the one you just attached. The third one is going to be the same way. Just put adhesive between the 2 score lines. And line the black piece up just underneath that score line. And try to line it up with these guys down here. And if you're using glue, you'll have a little bit of room where you can move it around a bit. And then our last one will be the very same way. Adhesive or glue between those 2 score lines, and this one is going to go up almost to the top because we don't want it to jam when you pull it. So this is the basis of our card. So how cool is that? All right, we're gonna leave this pulled out just a bit. We're going to attach a string to that, and I'm gonna show you a great little trick for that. So I have my twine, and I'm folding it in half. And then I'm going to use something that you can get at Walgreens or CVS or Rite Aid, any of your pharmacies. These are dental flossers, and they work great for threading your twine. So I'm going to come from the back to the front, so I'm going to put it in this way. Then I'm going to lay my twine in that loop, and as I pull it, it will pull it through just like a little needle threader. And then I'm going to open this loop, and I'm going to tuck those tails through, and I'm going to go around that piece, and there's my little pull tab. So now I have this guy to pull on my card. So the final thing to do is just to add these squares to our card. So the first one, and you're just going to center them on the black squares. I'm getting all out of whack here. So centered, And we're going to pull that up a little bit to get to the next one. And because this is still wet, you know, it hasn't had much time to dry, you want to be a little careful with it when you're gluing these down. Try not to be too rough with it because it still needs some drying time. And then our last one goes on right here. And there you have it. There is our waterfall card. And like I said, these are not all completely dry yet, so be gentle with it until you get a chance to lay it flat and let it dry. So there's our waterfall card. Pretty easy. Again, the trick is when you're making this, this is the only place it gets attached, because if you put glue anywhere else on that mechanism, it won't work. So I hope you've enjoyed this card. If you have any questions, you can email me at bluegrassstamper@gmail.com. If you'd like to see more projects, my website is www.bluegrassstamper.com. I'd love for you to shop with me if you don't have a demonstrator. It lets me make more videos. Thank you for joining me. Bye.